Hey, it's Jason Osborn here again with another episode of the Atomic Impact Podcast, and I am here with Ben Price today. And I am just we were just chatting before we got on this, and excited for him to share what he does and a bit of his journey as well, and something quite unique in what he does in his coaching. I'm interested to ask some questions around this today. But hey, Ben, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. So, tell us just very briefly, like, what are you doing now, and what made that transition? Tell us kind of what you came from at the end of this year and what you moved into.
Okay, so what I do now is I help high performance men win the war in their mind, and that's usually CEOs and entrepreneurs. I was a special forces intelligence soldier and worked with all sorts of parts of the military, Gurkhas, special forces, IED specialists, and then I built a gym. And in the gym, I realized that people use exercise to punish themselves for bad behavior.
Interesting.
Mm. So I realized they had a war in their mind.
Wow. Wow. That's fascinating. Talk about that a little bit more. I'm curious about that. What did you see? What were those trends about people going in to punish themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's not everyone, right? But
Yeah.
some people genuinely enjoy it, but some people were really hating themselves for their poor eating habits or their body or their injury or whatever. And they would really be beating themselves up, trying to work as hard as possible, basically using exercise as a bit of a punishment. And so I noticed that and I started helping a few people with their mind because it's a psychological um, battleground, shall we say, rather than it's not so much in their body, it's more in their mind. So I started seeing the results of doing that work, and it's really powerful. And it's the kind of work it lasts. So once you've understood it, once you've made once you've won that war, because you're finding peace really in your mind.
Hmm.
You don't, you rarely go back. You don't really go
Yeah.
back. Whereas a lot of people would stick to exercise routine, stick to a diet for a period of time, but then they would constantly be kind of, oh, I'm off the wagon. How many times have you heard someone say that?
Yeah.
And then they would need, a new challenge or a new something to keep them motivated to keep exercising. And I thought there's something off here. There's something else going
Yeah.
on. So that's what.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. So you've transitioned now into helping, you said high-powered men win the battle in their mind.
Yeah, high performance men usually,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I do work with a few other people, but generally it's men and masculinity. We're talking about masculinity, what it means to be a man, which I think is not clear this day and age. And there's a few strong voices in that space which may not be useful
Mm,
for everybody. So that's what I work on. Yeah.
that's amazing, man. Yeah. It's kind of why I was alluding earlier when I introduced you. It's like it's an interesting topic because there are some very strong voices and opinions around that. Um, just out of curiosity, obviously I don't want to get political with anything on this because it's not the purpose of this, but what do you think one of those challenges are with high performance type men and the different messages that are coming out in different angles around masculinity? What impact do you see that having?
Well, let's just say that male suicide is at an all-time high. So that's an impact.
Mm,
I think men feel inadequate. They don't feel powerful, don't feel capable. I think women are doing really well. They're obviously the
mm,
women have, as a generalization, women also have issues, and I'm not saying that they don't.
yeah,
Um, but I think men, what we really need is to step up in our and understand what is a man, what does it mean to be masculine, what does it mean to be a leader in our relationships, and it's not about control. A lot of people think it's about control. It's not about that. It's
yeah,
it's leadership. Yeah. And I say,
yeah,
like I said, I think the impact is, gambling, porn addiction, food addiction, self-harm, and then sometimes suicide is a potential outcome of that. But honestly, we don't really know because those guys are dead. You can't interview them.
Yeah. 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 I think it is an interesting thing. I think there are a lot of um, yeah, men out there struggling, and there's been a lot of different messages that have been communicated, and I think a lot of men are kind of struggling on where that place is and where they fit into that. So I think what you're doing is great, man, and just have, there is such thing as positive masculinity, and it's okay for a man to be strong.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I think the
that's my
other thing,
personal opinion.
yeah, I think the implications as well as loneliness.
Mm,
And yeah, absolutely. Men, like I said just now, I take men camping and we go on camp, we go for a hike, we have a fire, we make some food. It's pretty simple, but you just
yeah,
see men relax, discuss what's going on, connect with each other. I always say we're not here for politics, religion, current affairs, or even what you do.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
talk about who you are.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Talk about who
Yeah,
you are.
it's amazing, man. That's amazing. Well, slightly changing gears because obviously this podcast is about helping other entrepreneurs as well. And it definitely sounds like you've been in a journey with different stuff you've done with your gym and then selling it and all that. But if you were to be able to somehow go back in time and speak to that younger version of yourself that was coming out of the special forces, thinking about starting up your own business, what's the number one piece of advice that you would tell that kind of green behind the ear type entrepreneur budding self that you were? What's the number one piece of
Can
advice you'd give yourself?
I go for three?
Go for it. Yeah.
So I have three weapons, if you like, to win the war in your mind.
Yeah.
The first one is to stop judging yourself and others.
Yeah.
And that people like we know this, right? But do we really do it?
Yeah.
Same with the second one. Because you're human, you're going to need the second one. That's why I needed three. Um, so because you're human, you are going to continue to judge yourself and others. It's just what you do. The second one is, I say, hostage negotiation and forgiveness. So the hostage is anybody you're judging. So it could be yourself, but it could be your wife, your children. Like you've got a judgment around them and you're kind of holding them trapped in, and
Yeah.
you can't be loving towards them because you've got the judgment. So the only way you're going to be able to feel love and create that is to learn to forgive. And for some people that's wild, but I'm not religious, but every religion speaks to forgiveness independently. So that's fascinating. And then my third thing would be to know your mission and have an answer to the question of who are you and why are you here?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
talk a little bit more about that whole mission side of it. Um, why do you feel beyond just the normal surface level where it's like, okay, well, yeah, we all need a vision, we all need why is that so important? Why do you feel that that might be lacking in a lot of like particularly entrepreneurs, business owners?
I'll answer it with a story.
Yeah.
So I once interviewed a suicide bomber in Afghanistan, and obviously he wasn't successful in his attempt, shall we say.
Yes.
So he'd been arrested. And I asked him, I was fascinated to know what would motivate anyone to blow themselves up. So I got to ask him, what
Mm.
motivated you to blow yourself up? And he was like, oh, my family would get looked after. I'd been told it was the best thing to do. And it turned out he was retarded. He had mental health issues. And that was the theme in Afghanistan generally. It wasn't so much religious indoctrination. And then I went to Iraq. And in Iraq, there was capable men who had been enrolled into the vision
Mm.
to blow themselves up. And they were like coordinated. You have teams of them.
Yeah.
And then I realized there's a third type of suicide bomber, and it's everybody listening to the podcast.
Okay.
And I know it's everybody listening to the podcast, or most people, because it was also me. So
Yeah.
I was sabotaging parts of my health, my relationships for a mission that I didn't really believe in.
Mm.
Because I didn't have one of my own, I'd been enrolled into another one.
Mm, yeah, that's really powerful. I think it reminds me of a quote, and I'll probably have to paraphrase it, but like um, if you don't know where you're going, life will dictate where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're not working for yourself, you're working for someone else.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really powerful stuff. If you were to look back at one of the biggest mistakes you've made in your business, or besides the 3 points, which were great points, kind of a different question though on this. If you look back at one of the biggest mistakes that you made in your business, whether it was the gym or even what you're doing now with your coaching, what was that biggest mistake you made that you actually it was one of the actual biggest blessings in disguise, and why was it that way?
Where do we start?
Choose one.
I I think the biggest mistake was not was forgetting that everything's about relationship. Everything is businesses are just people, groups of people, and we
Yeah.
have relationships within the business, and we have relationships with our customers, and we have relationships outside. And I took a big backward step at one point in because that's like what you should do, right? You should outsource everything and step back. And so I kind of fell into that trap and wasn't so front facing with my customers or with my team. And I lost the relationship with them.
Mm.
And I think the blessing is having just recognized that that was the mistake I made and really delving into being better at it, which wouldn't,
Yeah.
and that happened, it didn't happen when I was further down the line, shall we say, in a bigger business. So I think that's the biggest learning because
Yeah.
that's kind of, I go all in on relationships now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, man. It's definitely a big thing. I think one things I've seen kind of a theme on what you're communicating is it's these things that we kind of know, but
Yeah, we
don't
know.
really do.
Yeah,
Do you know?
absolutely. Yeah, I've got
And
same as you, right?
yeah,
We read all the books, but do we really do the
yeah.
basics? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And the whole thing around relationship, we all go, yeah, I know. I always tell people like the three most dangerous words in the English language is I know that. Because as soon as we just say I know that, we cut ourselves off from actual, like additional learning.
Mhm.
And I just learned ages ago, it's probably over 20 years ago, whenever I say that internally, oh yeah, I know that. The next immediate question I ask is, what am I doing that? And as soon as I ask myself that question, it reopens my mind to learning. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not quite doing it all. And so now I'm actually at a place where I can receive more learning and maybe even kick up the backside that I need to actually implement the things that I know, but I'm just not doing. So yeah, I love that, man. That's really interesting. Well, what are your goals with your business now over the next 5 years? Like, what would you like to achieve with where you're going?
Great question. I would like first of all, I'd like to raise some money for a lady in my local community. This is not really a business one, but she's a mother of four. Her name is Camilla, and you can if anyone wants to go and donate to her, Curly Camilla is her Instagram handle. So I'd like to raise some money for her. She's a mother of four children. She needs some life-saving treatment, and she can't get it in the UK, which is a bit crazy. So that's my first goal. My second goal would be to fill up my camps and to bring, for the purpose of bringing men together and creating
Mm,
some masculine communities. Um, and third would be to work with some more powerful individuals.
yeah. Yeah, great goals, man. Really, really good. That's fantastic. Well, we're almost up at the end of the show today, but two questions I always ask. The first one is I'm all about LinkedIn. We've met on LinkedIn. And I'm always just curious, like, what is one thing you'd like to get more out of LinkedIn, or what's one thing you wish LinkedIn would change?
Hmm. You know what? I haven't really thought about that. What would I like to get out of LinkedIn? I think LinkedIn's pretty good. I use it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I really don't know what the answer to that might be.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. It's always really interesting to just see because some people just don't know, right? They might be using it, but they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting. Some people have really good, clear, like, okay, this is what I want to do, and then some people are very adamant on things they wish LinkedIn would change because a lot of people are very spammy on LinkedIn and stuff. But no, that's good, man.
Hmm.
Well, look, if anyone wants to get in touch with you and learn a little bit more about what you're doing, what did you have a website or a social media handle that they can go to?
So social media is at Coach Ben Price. I don't do any cold outreach. I don't do any spamming
Yeah,
because what the work I do requires people to uh, ask for some help
yeah.
to start with. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Good. And do you have a website or anything for people to go to?
I do not.
No, just social media handles. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Good. Well, we'll put those in the show notes there for everyone to be able to go through. But hey, Ben, thanks so much for being on the show, man. Really appreciate it.
appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.